So, Dad, are you going to tell us a joke today?
Yes, I am. This story I'm telling at the request of my charming niece, Terry Smith. It's a story that I heard in high school, and I've enjoyed telling it since high school, and I guess that's, 65 years or so. The earliest memory I have of telling the story was to my father, who just about fell out of his chair laughing. I don't really know how many times I've told this story, but I'm pretty convinced it's in the hundreds. So, at charming Terry's request, I am now going to tell the story of Luigi. And Luigi, he's got a restaurant. One day, Luigi looks up and there's a friend, Pasquale. He's come into the restaurant. Pasquale sits down, Luigi greets him, and Pasquale says, "You know, Luigi," he says, "I like you very much," he says, "but, you know, I don't like the way you run your restaurant." Luigi says, "What? You don't like the way I run my restaurant? What's it about?" He says, "Well, Luigi, you know, in a good restaurant, everything she's a clean. Everything she's a sanitary, and a human hand she's a no touch." Luigi says, "Well, Pasquale, you make a good point." He says, "Tell you what, you come back next week," he says, "everything she's going to be built. Everything she's going to be clean. Everything she's going to be sanitary." Very good. So, a week later, Luigi's friend Pasquale, he's come back. And Pasquale sits down, he says, "Luigi," he says, "you really did a good job." He says, "Everything she's a clean, she's a sanitary. I'm going to have a donut and a cup of coffee." Luigi says, "Fine, Pasquale." And he grabs a saucer by the edges and a cup very carefully, only touches the handle, puts it on the saucer, pours him a cup of coffee, sets it down without touching the edge of the cup, and then he reaches over and he lifts the lid off of the donuts, and he takes a fork and a spoon out of his pocket, and he picks up the donut, puts it on a saucer, puts these back in his pocket, puts this donut right in front. Pasquale says, "Luigi, that's a very fine. Everything she's a sanitary, and the human hand she's a no touch." He says, "But what's the string around your wrist? Go to the fly of your pants." He says, "Well," he says, "everything she's a sanitary, she's human hand, she's a no touch. I go to the bathroom, I pull the string, the human hand, she's a no touch." Pasquale says, "That's good, that's a very good." He says, "Wait, Pasquale," he says, "how you going to put them back in the pants? You can't push it with a string." Luigi says, "Well, Pasquale, that's very simple. I've got the fork and a spoon."